This guy Suong used to train with his friend in a dojo, and his friend notices that there is something different about his skill. This is when Suong reveals that he broke through to the minute of subtlety 2 days ago. When talking about the minute of subtlety, it is one of the martial mastery levels of this world, and the martial techniques are divided into 5 levels. The first is the beginner, the second is the minute subtlety, the third is the mastery, the fourth is the greater mastery, and the last one is the perfection. Suhong's friend is blown away by this, and he tells Suong that he is basically untouchable among his peers when it comes to Vajra Fist. When Suhong's friend realizes that the dude is not getting tired from all the training they have done, he decides to back out, telling Suong that he needs to go home because he is not a beast like him. On his way out, he runs into their teacher Lee, who is there to look for Suong. Lee tells Suong about the martial examination and the need to pay 30,000 yuan to register, with the deadline being next Monday. Suong nervously asks the teacher if he can't give him a few more days, and the man admits that he knows all about Suhong's suffering. He's aware that his family is in a tight spot, but there is nothing he can do to help, since rules are rules. After the teacher is gone, Suong continues training, and soon afterward, he is the only one left in the room. He is left thinking about his life, so far. He remembers how his parents died when he was just 3 years old, and this is thanks to a ferocious beast disaster. Since then, Suong has been living with his aunt and uncle. Apparently, after they discovered his martial talent, they decided to support his training with everything they had, since this era gives martial practitioners enough money to live the best life. Suong is heartbroken that he is doing everything to become good at martial arts, but he only keeps making things worse. Later that night, Suong arrives at the door of the house to hear his uncle and aunt talking about how hard things are. Apparently the rent is almost due, but they are ready to delay the rent just so they can pay Suhong's registration fee. They believe that Suong is such a magnificent talent that they can't hold back. It turns out that his aunt is even suffering from an incurable disease, but she is ready to stop taking her medicine so that they can save a lot of money. However, his uncle refuses, telling his wife to keep taking her medicine while he takes on another job to support the family. Hearing all of these, Suong almost breaks down in tears, but he is able to pull himself together, and he happily enters the house like he didn't just hear everything they were talking about. His aunt scolds him for training so late into the night, believing that he must be exhausted already. Suong offers to help with the task they are doing, but they refuse, suggesting that he take his rest first. While lying on his bed, Suong decides that he needs to start fixing things by himself because his guardians have sacrificed a whole lot for him. Since he is looking to make some cool cash, he figures out that there is only one place he can go as a martial cultivator. Later on, Suong heads to the Martial Apprentice Arena Defense Challenge, which is an underground fighting arena. Suong wears a minotaur mask on his head to conceal his identity, and the host tells Suong that all he needs to do is win 4 consecutive matches to take home 60,000 won. However, he is not allowed to lose, because if he loses just once, he will get nothing. The crowd is not entirely thrilled by Suhong's presence, since it is the first time they have heard of him or even seen him. They mock him, saying he is playing with his life because the underground arena is not a place for rookies unless he is looking for death. Seeing that the crowd is dulled by his presence, the female hostess urges Suong to heat up the crowd. Suong is totally new to things like this, and he asks the hostess how he is supposed to do this. She gives him ideas like taunting the crowd or even trash-talking them. Suong follows her advice and screams out, telling the crowd that he is invincible while calling his opponents weaklings. This only makes things worse for him since the crowd immediately concludes that he is arrogant. The crowd immediately switches up to his opponent, telling him to tear Suong apart. Suong finally understands why it is an underground arena because the killing intent is all over the place. However, he has no choice because this is the only way he can earn the tuition money, but he can only hope that his Vajra Fist carries him through a few wins. Suong analyzes his opponent and realizes that he is just an easy opponent. The dude makes the first move, leaping towards Suong with a punch, but Suong easily counters him by smacking his head into the ground, easily knocking him out. Suong raises his hand in excitement, but the crowd is not entirely pleased with his display. In no time, the next opponent climbs onto the stage, and he assures Suong that he is going to beat the crap out of him because he was only lucky to have defeated his first opponent. With a quick analysis, Suong realizes that the dude is actually quite decent, and he beckons to him to charge at him. The dude leaps towards Suong with a fist, but this time Suong meets him halfway with his own punch. With this, Suong figures out that the dude might be decent, but he is actually inferior to him in strength. The dude basically left himself open after one attack, and Suong is able to capitalize on this, landing a kick to the dude's waist to send him flying. The dude is sent into the wall and knocked out immediately, ultimately giving Suong 2 consecutive wins. Meanwhile, the man in charge is watching the whole thing unfold from his office, and he is surprised at how skilled Suong is, even though he is not even a quasi-martial practitioner. Before they know it, Suong has gone past his third opponent with just one match standing in between him and 60,000 yuan. The man says Suong is the perfect match for fixed matches, and his junior, who is wearing a fox mask, offers to go recruit Suong. The man tells Mr. Fox not to reveal the fact that he has already advanced to a true martial practitioner. Meanwhile, Suong already sees himself holding the 60,000 yuan in his hands because he believes that he can handle his opponents with his minute subtlety level Vajra fist. Just then, the fox, who is known by the crowd as White Fox, steps into the arena and everyone is blown away. They are not entirely impressed with White Fox's involvement because they know that he is pretty strong. When Suong hears that the dude is a quasi-martial practitioner, he realizes that it is going to be a tough fight, but he is not ready to lose. White Fox sees the uneasiness on his face, and he urges him to chill out, assuring him that he is going to go easy on him. The referee then starts the match, and since Suong can sense that he is inferior to White Fox, he decides to go all out from the beginning. Their fists meet halfway, and the force from the punch immediately tells Suong that he realizes White Fox is not a quasi-martial practitioner, but a genuine martial practitioner who deliberately suppressed his vital blood energy. Sweat runs down his body, and before he even knows what is happening, White Fox punches him into the distance with his Thunder Rush Fist technique, which is a triple resonance Thunder Rush Fist. Suong crashes to the ground with the attacks ravaging his body. The crowd is blown away when they see this, and they conclude that Suong is done for. The fight continues, and Suong is forced to be on the defensive. White Fox continues to taunt Suong, telling him to show his true self, because he appears to be weak. Suong, on the other hand, cannot even move from where he is, and he knows for sure that if this keeps up, he is dead. He is looking for an opening when White Fox lands a punch straight to his face that sends him flying into the distance. Suong crashes to the ground with his face disfigured, and the realization that he is slowly losing consciousness. White Fox places his leg on him, telling him that if this keeps up, he won't be able to get the prize money that was promised. However, he lets him know that he has an offer for him. He tells him to join them and starts throwing matches for them while collecting the match's full prize. Suong confidently tells White Fox that he is not interested in something so shameless. White Fox's tone and expression change as he tells Suong to rethink his decision because he can't refuse them. However, Suong tells them that they need to cover their faces in shame because they call themselves martial practitioners with the sort of trash stunt that they are pulling. Since Suong is not going to accept his offer, White Fox tells him that he is going to render him useless, so he won't be able to practice martial arts again. White Fox throws a kick at Suong, but the moment Suong realizes the gravity of what White Fox said, he pulls himself together and dodges the attack. He gets back on his feet with the fierce determination that he is not allowed to fail. White Fox is surprised to see that Suong can still stand, even though he just took the full power of his Thunder Rush Fist. Unknown to him, Suong is driven by the will to become a martial practitioner so he can let his family live a good life. For a moment, he considers White Fox's offer, but he immediately trashes it again because he is not someone who would accept such a trash offer to build his future on. Suddenly, a status window appears in front of him, and the system asks him what he is willing to give for his family. Without hesitation, Suong replies that he would give everything. An overwhelming aura swirls around his body, and he suddenly finds himself in a strange space. There is a giant golden figure in front of him who tells Suong that he is going to give him a chance. Suddenly, a golden status window appears in front of Suong, which displays Suong's stats and techniques. Suong wonders if it is a touch screen, but he immediately confirms that it is with just a touch of his hand. He checks out the task section, where he finds a task named Path of the Arena. He is expected to hone his martial arts in that space and then return outside to deal with White Fox. Since it is the newbie tutorial, he is informed that there is no reward for it. Suong is wondering what the task is all about when his clone appears behind him and throws a punch at his head. Suong barely dodges it and realizes that his clone is using the same skill as him. In fact, his clone's skill appears to be even more refined than his, which is more or less a textbook standard. Since he has gotten himself a worthy opponent and an example to learn from, Suong decides to throw everything into it. Suong goes after his clone, but the clone easily dodges his strike before landing a counterattack that shifts Suong backwards. Suddenly, Suong realizes that the progress on his technique has increased to 10%, and it was 7% before the duel began. This is when Suong realizes the simple truth that his clone can help him master his technique faster. Suong dashes toward him, and they start exchanging blows, with each punch increasing the mastery of the technique. Before he knows it, he masters a bunch of techniques just from training with his clone and getting a beating from himself. After a rigorous session, he finally gets a congratulatory message from the system telling him that he has completed the task. He is asked if he wants to return to reality, and he says yes. Back in reality, White Fox believes that Suong is just playing around by acting all cool and mysterious. He dashes towards Suong, swinging a punch at his face, but all he catches is Su-hong's afterimage. Suong easily dodges the dude's attack while telling him that he is too slow. The next thing that White Fox knows is a punch coming straight at his face, shattering his mask while reconfiguring his facial bones. Just one punch from Suong knocks White Fox to the ground, with the crowd going totally nuts about it. Suong then turns to the hostess, asking her when he is going to get his money because he just won his 4th match. The lady is totally startled by what she just witnessed, and she takes her time before announcing Suong as the winner, while revealing that he is going to be given the 60,000 yuan reward. The owner of the establishment is blown away by what he just witnessed, leaving him to wonder how a martial apprentice is able to master the Vajra fist technique. The man then tells 2 of his men to follow Suong so that they can find out who he is. On his way back home, Suong quickly catches on to the fact that he is being followed, and he wastes no time engaging in a maneuver tactic that throws the dudes off his tail. They are left wondering where he disappeared to, but unknown to them, he is hanging right above them. An hour later, Suong returns home, and he gives his guardians the money he just made. They are shocked when they see this, and they ask him where he got the money from. Suong lies that he made the money from being a sparring partner at the dojo where he works. He adds that they have decided to sponsor his training because of how talented he is, and the uncle is surprised to hear this, since he once complained about how stingy the dojo is. Suong calms the 2 down, asking them if they don't trust him. The 2 immediately come to their senses, agreeing that their nephew would never lie to them. Later that night, Suong heads to the roof to think about how good the day went. He has been able to sort out the martial examination registration and even figure out his rent. In fact, his aunt's medical bills have been covered to some extent. Suong is glad that he was able to turn danger into safety thanks to the system, but he realizes that aside from the technique levels, the other values didn't change. He notices that there is something called martial Dao value, but he doesn't know what it does. The system tells him that defeating an opponent that is above his level would give him 67 martial Dao value points, and this can be used to increase vital blood and martial techniques, so he should use it wisely. Suong decides to try it out immediately, and he increases his vital blood, which immediately reflects on his body. His vital blood jumps to the 90 mark, and he realizes that he has reached the quasi-martial practitioner level. He decides to add all the points he has to vital blood, and he immediately notices an increase in his physical strength, while most of his injuries have fully recovered too. Since he is sensing an overwhelming power in his body, he figures out that getting a good place to try it out is the best way out. He decides to head to the school's martial training ground, where there is a combat power tester. Moments later, he arrives at the Star City No. 1 high school martial training field, where the device is located. It turns out that it is a Tier 1 combat tester, and he decides to use 70% of his punch power to try it out. He takes a deep breath before punching the device, and to his dismay, he destroys it. Suong knows he is dead if they find out that he is the one who ruined the machine. At the same time, he just concludes that the machine is bad, which is why it got damaged too easily. Suddenly, he hears someone coming in his direction, and this is because they heard the noise from the tester. It turns out to be the principal, and the old man almost loses his head when he realizes that the school's test has been smashed. He immediately concludes that this is the work of the two school geniuses, Qinshan and Li Tuesday. The principal decides to teach the two a lesson when the school resumes. Later on, the students gather at the school gym, and Suong notices that Qinshan is all beaten up. He asks his friend what happened, and he tells Suong that Qinshan was beaten because he smashed the field tester the night before. Suong cannot even say anything to this because he realizes that the old man made sure to make Qinshan take the fall. Just then, the principal shows up, and he screams at the students to keep their mouths shut, telling them that he invited one of his comrades in arms, who is a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Basically, he is there to teach everyone a C-rank martial art, the Thunder Rush Fist. The students are blown away by this because this is the first time they are going to be seeing a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Apparently, outside dojos usually charge hundreds of thousands for teaching C-rank martial arts, but they are about to get it for free in the school. Suong, on the other hand, remembers that it is the same technique that White Fox used during their match. Suong admits that it is quite powerful, since it is a triple resonance punch. Since the opportunity might only come once, Suong plans to make the best of it. The trainer then tells the students to pay attention because he is only going to demonstrate the skill 10 times from start to finish. He lets them know that how much they learn about it is up to them. Without wasting time, the trainer begins the demonstration, and he throws one punch while explaining that the Thunder Rush has several levels. Basically, each punch produces one thunderous boom, and at mastery, it produces 3 resonances. At minute subtlety, it produces 5 resonances, and at greater mastery, it produces 7, which is the trainer's current level. However, he lets them know that if the technique is perfected, it can produce 9 resonances. Nonetheless, he tells them not to rush themselves, because even if it is only the beginner level they reach that day, it is enough. The trainer then tells them to follow his example as he starts the second demonstration. Hours later, the students are already exhausted, and no one has even been able to get it. Surprisingly, Su Hong is no longer in the hall, and his friend wonders where he has disappeared to. Moments later, Qinshan reaches beginner level, and he remains the only person who did among the students. This further proves his status as the genius of the school. The principal excitedly tells the trainer that Qinshan is the genius of the school, and he asks him if he is interested in giving him some guidance. However, the trainer is disappointed in what the principal is referring to as the genius in his class. He tells the man that Qinshan is average at best. While walking to the entrance of the school, the trainer tells the principal, Li, that his students are trash, and he basically just made him waste a good trip. Li tells the trainer that he should be happy that he even found one student who reached beginner level, because getting a top-tier genius is basically impossible. The trainer then tells the old man that martial cultivation is harsh, which means talent is too important. The principal agrees that relying only on effort without destiny is basically impossible. Suddenly, they spot a student practicing in the school field, and this student turns out to be Suong, but his back is facing them, so they don't recognize him. Right in their presence, Suong is able to wield the 7 Resonance Thunder Rush Fist, which shocks them. The trainer asks Li about Suong, but he doesn't even know he has someone that talented in his school. They are further shocked when they realize that Suong has reached greater mastery in what the trainer just showed them some hours ago. Just then, Li notices that the trainer is standing still, as if he is trying to understand something. Li asks him what the problem is, but suddenly, the trainer tells the principal that he has finally understood what he needs to do. He clenches his fist and throws a punch to activate the 8 resonances, which shocks Li. Li can't believe that the trainer just broke through right there, and the man reveals that watching Suong just gave him inspiration. He admits that he might never have been able to break through if not for him. However, he suggests that they ignore all boring conversations and just find out who the student is. They rush into the field, but to their surprise, Suong has already vanished. As he walks away from the school, Suong expresses his surprise at how exhausting it is to call and cultivate a C-rank technique. Since his Thunder Rush Fist has already reached perfection, he figures out that he has to find a way to earn martial Tao value to break through to martial practitioner as soon as he can. He wonders if he is going to gain points if he spars with someone instead of risking his life in a life or death situation. Later on, Suong arrives at the Thunder Dojo where he works part-time. Upon entering the dojo, his friend asks him why he is there that day, and Suong replies that he is just there to get some practice. Meanwhile, a purple-headed student is busy arguing with another student. Suong asks his friend what the issue is, and he reveals that the new instructor is the purple-head's teacher. Basically, the instructor is pretty strong, but he looks down on commoners as if they are not humans. The purple head is Lien, and he is also pretty strong. Lien is about to beat up the student he is arguing with when Suong grabs his arm, telling him to chill out. Lien is pissed that a regular dude just grabbed him, and he demands to know who he is. In fact, he tells Suong to fight him one-on-one in the arena if he thinks he is a big shot. Suong doesn't hesitate before accepting the request, but the instructor enters at the right time to ruin everything. He tells them to get ready for class, and Lien taunts Suong, telling him that he literally got lucky. The instructor then reveals that it is his last day teaching the students the Furious Sea Spear art, which he is only going to demonstrate once, just like he's always done. Deep down, the instructor doesn't expect any of them to learn it since he believes that they are all trash. The instructor does as he promised, and he demonstrates the move just once, but Suong is able to lock everything into his memory. The instructor walks away, telling the students that the rest is up to them, but they scream at him, telling him that he only demonstrated it once. While they are all arguing and protesting, Suong proceeds to try out what he just crammed into his brain. To everyone's surprise, Suong gets it really well, leaving his peers in shock. The students start believing that they are really stupid, which is why they can't learn it. Then, Lien enters the room again because he can hear the students' excitement from the other room. He is surprised to see that Suong has actually learned the technique, and he decides that he has to test the dude's depth if he is really a genius. Lien calls Suhong's attention, telling him that he would like to give him some pointers on the spear art. Suong agrees to this, and this gets Suhong's friend really worried. He tells Suong that even though Lien is arrogant, he is actually strong. Suong then tells his friend not to worry about him, and Suong points his spear at Lien, taunting him. Lien is pissed at how arrogant Suong is, and he dashes at him with his technique, but Suong meets him halfway with a pretty good technique too. Lien is left in shock, while also wondering how Suong is able to cultivate his technique to the mastery realm so fast, even though he is not a martial practitioner. The two continue swinging at each other. Suong enters flow state, with his eyes glowing, and he ultimately smashes Lien's spear out of his hand. The system immediately informs him that he has been awarded 35 points because he defeated an opponent who is above his level. Suong is pleased to see this, because it is just as he suspected. Since normal sparring can earn him points, he figures out that he would just continue sparring with more people. Lien, on the other hand, is on his knees wondering how he was defeated by someone he believes to be trash. He doesn't want to accept defeat, and he gets on his feet dashing towards Suong with a punch, but the instructor enters just in time to stop the fight. The instructor walks up to Lien and smacks him in the face, telling him that he can't fully call himself a martial practitioner unless he is able to face failure. Lien cannot believe that he just got scolded by his master because of Suong. Deep down, the instructor is curious about how Suong was able to reach mastery just by watching his demonstration once. The dude knows that the geniuses in the capital would have even had a time doing what Suong just did. He knows that Lien is talented, but he is too arrogant, and he believes that being humbled by Suong would teach him some manners. The instructor grabs Lien's head and forces him to bow to Suong. The instructor also apologizes to Suong, telling him that it is his fault for not teaching Lien well. Suong cannot believe how fast the instructor can change his tone. That night, Suong heads home, and on his way, he checks out the rewards he got thanks to the spar and teachings. Even though he is exhausted, he is grateful for the rewards. He remembers that the school exam is coming in a few days, and the students who have money have prepared high-grade alloy weapons, which means he also has to prepare a weapon of his own. Since the spear he used felt really comfortable, he decided to stick with spears, and he concluded that he would have to buy an alloy spear. However, he has just a little money, which is not even enough for his aunt's treatment, not to mention buying a spear. He starts racking his head if there is any other way to make money, and just then he notices that an important piece of news is being displayed on the screen. It turns out that the city lord is recruiting martial practitioners because of the increasing number of ferocious beasts. Suong immediately puts this on his bucket list. Moments later, he arrives at the house, and he immediately jumps on the task his aunt is working on to help her. He helps place massage plasters on his uncle's back while telling him not to overwork himself again, since he can now make money for the family. His uncle admits that this would be nice, but he doesn't think he can sit idly. His uncle tells him not to worry because he is just earning a bit for daily expenses, so he won't push himself. Soo-hong's aunt then reminds him that he is going to need a lot of money for his martial arts training later, which is why they want to save as much as they can for him. Soo-hong immediately figures out that his uncle and aunt won't sit down to rest because they are already used to living in hard times, which means the only solution is to make a crazy amount of money to assure them that they don't have to worry about working themselves to death. This further cements his decision to earn from the ferocious beast hunt. However, he is aware that the wilderness is dangerous, and to be safe, he figures out that he would need to raise his strength as much as possible. He decides to put all the martial Tao points he has into vital blood. After adding all the points he has, his vital blood level shoots up to 95.2, which is just a step away from becoming a martial practitioner. After 2 full days of working really hard, Soo-hong is able to bring all of his martial techniques into perfection. Since his preparations are now complete, he figures out that it is time to leave the city to hunt beasts. That Saturday, Soo-hong heads to the Star City Martial Practitioner base, and since it is his first time coming there, he is surprised at how far it is. Upon entering the base, she realizes that it is filled with martial practitioners that one won't see every day. Soo-hong picks up a manual where he learns of the points awarded to each ferocious beast defeated from Tier 1, early stage, down to the late stage. It turns out that after killing a ferocious beast, one is required to cut off its left ear as proof, or the kill won't be counted. He is looking around when he notices a group entering the base. The big guy among them carries a big bag on his back, which is obviously filled with left ears. The arrival of the group catches everyone's attention, and leading the group is a blonde-haired fellow, yeah? Soo-hong notices something strange about his aura and his outfit, which makes him believe that Ye is White Fox from the underground arena. It turns out that the practitioners don't really like Ye, and most of them would have beaten him up if his uncle wasn't the base manager. Ye soon notices Soo-hong standing in the distance, and they lock eyes. Soo-hong immediately figures out that he has to worry about humans, while also worrying about beasts. After he is done settling his affairs, Soo-hong tells the official that he is heading out alone, and the official believes that Soo-hong is just going to die in the wilderness because he is trying to prove that he is tough. As he steps into the woods, Soo-hong makes a decision to return with a bag full of monster ears. 2 hours later, Soo-hong is already getting frustrated because he has walked around without sighting a single beast. Since he's walked around the outskirts with no luck, he decides to go deeper into the forest. He hasn't even gone that far when he runs into a phantom moon wolf, which is a Tier 1 early stage ferocious beast. It is his first time seeing one physically, and the beast wastes no time leaping toward him with clear intentions of tearing him apart. With the beast charging in recklessly, Soo-hong meets it halfway with a powered punch that sends it flying into the tree. With just a punch from Soo-hong, the monster is sent to the afterlife